Welcome back. Again, talking about one metal blade band to another. This one is Nasty Savage. Wait, are Nasty Savage a thrash metal band? Some ways they are, but they are actually more of a power thrash band. At least when it comes to the debut, because I'll explain more on that. But before I really get into the band's past, which in some ways it does me, the way I found this band does kind of go back to the band's past, and it's actually prior to the release of this album. Meaning, when I mean that, I don't mean that I went back at time and actually went and discovered Nasty Savage before they ever released this album, because that's fucking absurd. But my introduction to this band was actually with their Wage of Mayhem demo. And this is like back in, I think it was 2008. This was definitely quite a while, and but the reason I wanted to check them out was the fact, and this was that my brother had downloaded this, and I always would use my grandmother's computer, and he had this on the Windows Media Player, but there was a track on there. And the song was titled XXX. Now, my little mind, what it was going through was like, what the hell? Yeah, I wanted to check it out. My fucking curiousness wanted to check it out. And with a name like Nasty Savage, I was starting really to dig more deep into the underground metal scene. But just seeing this, I'm like, Alright, I gotta check this out. And I was quite surprised. I was welcomed. The music was definitely very speedy. Almost still definitely had some of that new wave of British heavy metal sound to it. Definitely a good track nonetheless. But again, listening to more of that demo, I really dug what I heard. But I wouldn't get to listen to more of this band's material until later of 2009, 2010. And so, over time, I decided to give this album a listen fully. And this was like a month ago, before I was doing this, putting this list together to kind of really bring you the what is right now U.S. Power Metal Month and the way I'm delivering it. So I was listening to this. This is definitely this band's history. Of course, the song XXS was definitely featured on like the 6th Metal Massacre, and so, but with this album, this is definitely, I would classify as power thrash, because of it's not clearly pure thrash. It's not as much as speed. It's got more like a bit of a Hellstar sort of Agent Steel, Metal Church, Liege Lord esque sound mixed with the likes of Anthrax, bit of maybe some really early Metallica or some Slayer, or Exodus and the like. Definitely much close to what would be. And also, do not even listen to what Wikipedia says, because even before that I was trying to figure out when Indulgence was recorded at, because of this album was actually recorded at Morris Sound Studios, which I talked about. 2 releases that were recorded at Morris Sound Studios, which were Sabotage's Sirens, The Dungeons Are Calling, Agent Steel's Unstoppable Force. But here, this was also recorded at Morris Sound Studios, but was not produced by Dan Johnson or Scott Burns, not Randy Burns. But I was trying to figure out where Indulgence was recorded at. But when going on Wikipedia, they state them as a death metal band. Really? This classifies as death metal these days? No. To me, this isn't. Sure, it's got some riffs that are very similar, and the guitar tone has definitely got that Florida sound to it. And this band is definitely from the Florida area. But Nasty Ronnie is not a death metal singer. He did form a death metal band, but him on here, he's definitely a bit of a King Diamond or James Rivera type of guy. Rob Halford. He's just kind of like that. He's just very... he's just... he doesn't have the very... at times he does have some guttural stuff, definitely, you know, on such as Metal Knights or, you know, Dungeons of Pleasure. But this is still isn't really considered a death metal album, so I'm just gonna shut up on there and actually get into the song that starts off the album, which is No Sympathy. Starts off with a very kind of a synth sound, definitely kind of giving off that kind of horror movie feel to it for a definitely atmosphere. But before going into, of course, that riff. You know, that before then going to a definitely chugging riff, and then finally get into a speedy part with, of course, Nasty Ronnie coming in, giving his very sort of King Diamond-esque approach to the singing. This guy really kind of makes Nasty savage. This guy makes it. For his approach to this style is... it's a bit unbrittle. It's uneasy. It almost gives you like you're walking into some area that you probably shouldn't be walking into. But this is just the feel of this album. Definitely really good. And then you get the Gladiator, which this is a highlight. What a fucking good track. This is definitely one of the slower tracks in there, but this is definitely where it gets a bit more power metal sounding. And of course, you do have Nasty Ronnie giving off his, you know, signature screams, which the Gladiator, that going in, and then you get the riff and such. This is definitely another really good track off the album. Far Beyond the Vision keeps the quality going. Metal Knights, good track. This is definitely more. This song is kind of your typical sort of metal song in a way. It's like the lyrics are definitely kind of like, you know, metal sort of stuff, you know, going out and have fun and all that. That's kind of, but it's done in a more of the Nasty Savage approach, just more of a different approach than that. Garden of Temptation, which is an instrumental, definitely starts. It's definitely good. Before going into Asmodeus or something like that, which is still a good track. Definitely really good. And again, you got Dungeons of Pleasure. Really, what can be said? It's a good track. With, of course, like I stated, does feature some of Nasty Ronnie's sort of, you know, very guttural sort of, you know, aggressive, you know, voice. You got the Morgue, which is, this is definitely, again, keeping the quality going. And you got Psychopath, and then there's another track that I'm forgetting. Instigator, good. Psychopath, like I said, I believe it could be either a Samhain or Misfits cover, because of Glenn Danzig does get writing credits, so it has to be a cover. Yes, it does have, for some reason, when you put in like Windows Media Player, when it comes to that writing credits part, his name just shows up right next to the song, so I don't know how that fits in, but then, of course, it ends with End of Time. Great way to end the album. Overall, this is definitely more of a power thrash metal album than really a straightforward, no-bones thrash metal album. But after this, they would turn into more of a speed thrash metal band. So, with that, this is definitely a solid album, and I know that Nasty Savage is back together and are recording a new album as I know. So, I'll definitely review that album when it comes out. So, until then, if you have heard this debut album by Nasty Savage, and of course I just forgot to mention that the artwork was, I think his name is Randy Hamburg, the same guy who did the artwork for Hallows Eve's Tales of Terror, actually did the artwork for this, and of course this has some of the best version of the logo for the band. He does a killer. He did a really killer version of the logo. It's just, what can be said? It's a fucking good version of the logo, and the best I'll ever see of it. So until then, if you have heard it, what are your thoughts? If you have any thoughts, you can post your comments down below. This is Heavy Thrasher saying I'm out. Time to get to the last band for this day.